Ben Sebastian here, curator of the Symphonic podcast, composer of the Kalasin series of albums, and the soon-to-be-released Borderline Personality Disorder Opus 1, also known as Spitting Out Flies, perhaps more easily. I'm going to take a foray into something quite different, as I often do, and this is, well, it's kind of sort of rap, but scream metalized, and it's in French. So unfortunately, I won't have the ability to understand a goddamn word of it. But nonetheless, it's an important one because the artist and the artist that I'm talking about here goes under the name CDQP, and I understand that either translates as something like an acronym. I don't know what those letters stand for, or maybe CDQP is something that sounds French. I don't know. But whose real name is Romain. This is where I struggle. Romain. Is it Roigneau? Roigneau. I'm really bad, and I totally apologise. But for the instance of clarity for our French speakers, the name is listed just down there. And of course embedded in the comments section. He started at the age of 7 writing poetry in class. This is something that I did, and I used to get pulled up, especially in high school, on the sort of dark themes. But I had a dark childhood, so what does one expect? But then at the age of 12 began to produce and write his hip-hop music. At the age of 22, he says, he was diagnosed as bipolar, and is kind of very discreet, I suppose, about his music because of his anxiety and schizoid behaviours. And this is why I'm delving into perhaps a genre that I'm not qualified to talk about, because the momentum behind it is the diagnosis of personality disorder. And as someone with borderline personality disorder, I know all too well how the tenets and the facets of such a disorder can sort of take hold, and we become sort of self-demonizing, self-destructive towards ourselves, and we're kind of either unable to heal from traumas, or get stuck in them, or enter into say arrangements, relationships, scenarios that are unhealthy. We form maladaptive coping strategies. Mine was cocaine abuse for 5 years, which resulted in a fraud conviction, as I, basically stole money through my professional business, which I was not entitled to basically fund the habit and fund the people that I was keeping around that were essentially toxic. And I went through a short journey of imprisonment, and have come out, and I've set this up. And one of my objectives in this podcast and in this YouTube channel was to empower people who have gone through stuff, and that's regardless of whether or not you've got a diagnosed personality disorder or a diagnosed condition or not, to empower them and to promote one's in the self-investment in their talents that are unique to them and that are innately them and theirs, as a way of surpassing the vicissitudes and the terrors of life, both what's going on in the present and the past. When it comes to something like bipolar, I have very little knowledge, bar what I've seen on YouTube. Well, I had little knowledge, bar what I've seen on YouTube. And keeping the details sparse, let's just say I have become very close to an individual who has bipolar disorder, and I have seen in recent months the maladaptive coping strategies, the self-demonization, the highs, the mania, the lows, the catastrophizing, and the pain, above all, the pain of the disorder. And you know, it upsets me greatly to see someone suffering. But also this individual, you know, is full of joy and full of talent and full of warmness and openness and understanding, and I just can't describe how brilliant I find this individual. So and that's kind of us in general, you know, people, you know, we all have our crosses to bear, but somehow through it all we're good. We're good people. We always have good intentions, and we have these wonderful sunny dispositions. And I've kind of lost my thread in the emotion of it all. Of course, I would. I have an emotionally unstable disorder. But yeah, you know, it's important that we plough on, and it's important that we invest in ourselves, and it's important we invest in our talents. So moving on to the talents of CDQP, I'm a little bit unsure as to what the track is titled, because there was a number of letters and sort of numbers. It could be called End or End 2. It might have just been a WAV file sent over. That was the second version, and it's actually called End. So I don't know if Romain, if you'd be so kind to clarify that, and I can certainly update the comments. But here we go. Ben Sebastian's delve into the world of French rap scream metal.
Il y a 10 ans je traînais en camp. Les débuts étaient explosifs tout comme le ping-pong. Avec le temps je suis passé d'ultimate à boomerang. Maintenant je suis tout seul à tirer sur mon bras. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le Le début de la fin quand un nous a brusquement quittés. Thomas, mon meilleur ami à jamais. Chacun est parti sombrement dans son coin se droguer. Même si j'aimerais tellement pouvoir devancer. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le calme. Dis-leur qu'on va fermer le
Okay. Well, that was stop. I'm going to play again. Okay. Well, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. It's quite different to what I normally would listen to, and of course, you know, I don't have the constant context of the lyrics, being a non-French speaker, because I'm a typical Englishman, and we don't learn languages, unfortunately. You know, But what I will say, you know, is it certainly sounded aggressive and dynamic, and I'd wonder, you know, if I could have understood the lyrics, you know, I can imagine that being quite something powerful. Um, Again, a short piece. I understand that this music does have a lot of kind of, you know, sort of, we're not known for the sort of 6 minute, a minute sort of epics from like bands like I would listen to, you know, it's symphonic metal wise, you know, look at all of his stuff. But yes, I think, you know, the important thing. Well, for one, you know, it's always good to step outside of boundaries and comfort zones. I think that applies musically as a musician. I think it applies musically as a listener. I think even as a general person, I think you should always, you know, absorb new stuff, because you never know, you might find something you like. So I certainly hope that maybe a few of my watchers, I kind of make the assumption that there's not many rap lovers on my channel, but I certainly hope that the ones that there are, you know, perhaps took to that enough to follow the guy. I'm going to leave his YouTube link down below, and that was my sort of view, sort of talk on not only CDQP. I will say that on the YouTube there seems to be quite a lot of content. Let's just have a look. And he seems to like his anime videos as well, and it kind of is doing relatively sort of well for himself, sort of views wise. So, you know, it's perhaps something worth checking out. Yeah, and I suppose this video has not only just been about CDQP, it's been kind of sort of been about the sort of mission that I'm on, the way I want to sort of help. If you're suffering with a disorder, or even with just suffering, you don't even have to have a disorder, and you're musically inclined, pick up your instruments, carve out a schedule, do something with your talents. There's a lot of rewarding pathways that open up when you make that decision, and don't worry about being the perfect musician. Don't worry about being the perfect producer. Don't worry about being the perfect YouTuber, and don't worry about having enough sort of social skills to pull off conversations and stuff on Instagram and stuff, because the more you mine into your talent, the better you become, and you find your way along with it. CDQP has proved that in the number of videos he's kind of put up on YouTube, and the views that he's got. I've proved it with my channel. I've come out as an ex-prisoner diagnosed with a personality disorder, starting life again, and here I am. I've got a future release. You know, I've got all of this. I've got all of this love from you guys. I've got all of this great music to listen to. And it just sort of, you aim at something, and then, you know, the aim adjusts, and the conversations happen, the views happen, you know, the likes happen, the opportunities happen, the connections happen, and then the connections deepen. And that really is the way to heal and surpass most things that will come at you. Thank you.